Remember the name of Jeremiah Fears. Come back to this in 5 years and let's see where he is. Because I think this can be somebody special. Coming out of Oklahoma, he was the number 7 overall pick in this past draft. And this is a dynamic, captivating, and shifty kind of guard who lit a fire under the Oklahoma basketball program last year. And the Pelicans, they have a lot of guards on that team, from DeJounte Murray to Herb Jones to Jose Alvarado to Jordan Poole. So I don't know where he quite steps in. But I think that when he gets a chance to shine, his talent is going to be on full display. Because Fears has a lot of upside to him. Coming out of OU, this is a basketball program that is not known, or rather a university that is not necessarily known for their basketball program. They are known for their football and their softball. But they've got a pretty good hit rate when it comes to these high picks. Blake Griffin, Buddy Hield, and Trey Young, all top 10 picks. And they all turned out to be very valuable contributing NBA players. Buddy Hield, lights out marksman. Blake Griffin was a dynamic athlete and one of the initial point forwards in this modern era. Trey Young, of course, the perception of him is kind of polarizing, but he is a dynamic offensive engine that the Atlanta Hawks have put their trust in, and for good reason. There are few offensive hubs in the league better than Trey Young. And then we get Jeremiah Fears. He's going to be looking to add on to that legacy of Oklahoma products, and I think he has a very good chance to do so. He was named to the All SEC freshman team, averaged 17.1 points and 4.1 assists in his time at OU. I think Fears has a really good feel for the game. And one of the biggest knocks on him, and this is very, very important, is his shooting ability. Because if you're going to be a guard, especially in the modern NBA, you have to be able to shoot. If you don't, that's going to be a detriment to your career and your value. Look at Ben Simmons. And Fears didn't shoot too great in college. But what he did do well was where his shooting suffered from beyond the arc in college. He was a pretty good free throw shooter. So that means he has the mechanics there. It's just a matter of putting it all together. Aside from that, he's got a pretty distinct level of polish about him. And in terms of a day one impact, I don't necessarily expect that to be the case. I don't expect him to come out the gates running to be the rookie of the year, or, really even be a front runner in that race against Cooper Flag. But I do think that, especially with DeJounte Murray being injured, he could come in and make an immediate impact. And with that shooting, it might take reps to get him acquainted to the NBA's pace, but I think he'll get there. And I can absolutely see him on an all-rookie team. I just don't see him as the premier headliner. And that's not a knock on him at all. Because I think eventually, he has the talent to be one of the better point guards in this league. And I will stand firm in that stance. You get his shooting down, and he's a pretty much complete offensive player. An amazing scorer, and a pretty solid passer too. He's got good instincts, a good feel for the game. And on this Pelicans roster, yes, they have a lot of point guards, so that might play into him not getting a lot of time immediately. But I think if you did put him out there and you did give him a chance to maybe be an all rookie team member, like I stated earlier, I think he brings a new dynamic to your team. Because with the guys I mentioned, Jordan Poole would be the most similar to him as kind of this offensive minded one. But beyond that, the likes of DeJounte Murray, Herb Jones, and Jose Alvarado, these are guys who are pretty defensive minded. And obviously, DeJounte, he has shown what he can do offensively. I remember that final year in San Antonio, especially. But particularly within the case of Alvarado and Herb Jones, I think he creates a unique contrast out of the gate as this more dynamic offensive player. And so, therefore, that's someone that could come off of your bench and immediately be a little bit of a spark plug. I think worst case scenario, that's exactly what he could. A great microwave scorer off the bench, like Lou Williams or Jamal Crawford, or heck, even Jordan Clarkson. But I think he has the potential to do even more. So remember the name of Jeremiah Fears. This is someone that could be very, very special in my opinion. Coming from OU, they're not a basketball school, but they have had some hits in recent years. And Fears is going to be looking to add his name to that list. A shifty offensive player with a lot of polish to his game, and good shot mechanics that should translate to the next level, especially in regards to his 3-pointer. It wasn't pretty in college, but I think it can be a lot better. And once you nail that part of his game, you get that down, there's not a lot of answers for him when trying to guard Jeremiah Fears. Now, why does all this matter? Why is it important that we remember the name of Jeremiah Fears, that I'm projecting him to be a star in the future? Well, I've got two, maybe three reasons here. First of all, I think it's important to recognize the future stars of the league, or at least to project those who you think might have the capabilities to do so. Because when you are building up future generations, you create something sustainable. That's why if you're the NBA, you want to market guys like Wemby or Cooper Flag. Because eventually the likes of LeBron, Curry, Kevin Durant, they're not going to be here anymore. So who's going to bring in that revenue when they're gone? Luka's still pretty young. Wemby has incredible potential. Cooper Flag has been very, very hyped up. It's going to be very fun to watch him. You've got to bring up these young guys to build something sustainable for the association. That's what I want. I love basketball. I love the NBA. And I both want to see it be something sustainable, which of course it is as this multi-billion-dollar organization. And I also want to be a voice in that. I want to be a visionary, an optimist, and bring up guys of the future like Fear. So I think have the ability and the talent to do a lot of good things in this league. I think it's very important if you're the NBA to market these kinds of guys. Because Fears also, I think he's very, very marketable. One thing that stands out, you see a picture of him, he wears his Jordan headband upside down. And so immediately, that's just kind of an instant quirk that you can see about him, something that makes him unique. And with that comes marketability. You see the upside down headband, and you're like, oh, hey, that's Jeremiah Fears. You even look at his jersey number, he's wearing number 0 with the Pels for Zero Fears. That's something else compelling about him. And you look at a young rising star like Anthony Edwards, who the NBA is looking to market around. He's had a great campaign going with Adidas for his AE1s, and that's a very, very marketable star. And I think Fears can do much of the same. Then, number 2 here, my second reason is that I think the floor is pretty high with him. So when you've got a player like that, I feel like that's pretty good value to have, especially at that point guard spot, because consistency can run rampant with that position just by virtue of them having the ball in their hands so much. But Fierce, he's got such an advanced feel for the game, such a good polish about him. I don't worry about that as much, and I think at the very least he can be a good dynamic microwave scorer, as I've stated previously. Then third is this. Going back to the thing about marketing your stars, and how the NBA should put a focus on young guys like Anthony Edwards, Cooper Flag, Wemby. You also have to market the game itself in order to be sustainable. This is something I think the NFL does very, very well. They don't just market these superstars of the league, and sure, they get plenty of that. You get Travis Kelsey, Patrick Mahomes in commercials, or Justin Jefferson, but a lot of the time, they'll also put out advertisements that are just focused on the game of football itself. And it's not always the superstars. It's just players you got to be more tapped in to know, or not even players themselves, but just the impact of football. And I think if the NBA did something similar, they could tap into a whole new level of marketing. In Fears, even if he's not going to be a superstar, he's someone exciting, he's someone marketable. So if you're going to market the game of basketball, I think Fears could be a great place to start. A good player to go about that with. And in the context of this draft class, where that fits in, of course, the undeniable top 2 picks, Cooper Flag and Dylan Harper. Those are the major talking points. Those are the undeniable stars that you can't miss, prospects, the ones who are going to be marketed like no other. But I think Fierce has the chance to be really, really impactful as well, and that should not be overlooked. And lastly, yeah, I got 4 reasons. I intend on going to the University of Oklahoma. So, with that, maybe I've got a little bit of crimson and cream tinted glasses here when I'm looking at Jeremiah Fears and projecting for his future, but I think he has the talent to be very, very good. And as someone who intends on being a Sooner a few years down the road, I would love to see someone from that college succeed. This is a place I've been rooting for so long now. And so when there's a prospect that I think has a lot of talent, a lot of potential coming from there, I better voice that. even if it's to an audience of 50 people, right, that are watching this. But in spite of just being an OU fan and going there, I think Fierce has all the potential in the world. If he was an LSU prospect or a Clemson prospect, I would be saying the same things because I am captivated by his game. I think he has a lot of potential as well as a very high floor. He's got a nice polish about him. It looks like a very complete offensive player. Just got to work on the 3-point shooting, but he has the mechanics, and I think he can be a star in this league. So come back to this video in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Whenever you do, remember the name of Jeremiah Fears in return, because I think that he can be a star in this league. This is someone who the NBA can market, so that's going to spread his name to an even wider audience, but his game is the most impressive thing about him. He's got an advanced feel for it at a young age, and that's only going to help him as he tries to get acquainted with the pace and talent of the NBA. Welcome to the league, Jeremiah Fears. I think he has the talent to be a star in the association. Thank you for listening.